The Supreme Court weighs the future of abortion, and today the state justices, they heard oral arguments on a case that's been working its way through the court for years.
That's right. Jason Kelvey joins us here in the studio as the future of abortion is on the docket. Jason.
Yeah, that's exactly what's at stake, Mary. This 2024 case, it dates back to 2022 when the U.S. Supreme Court reversed the national Roe v. Wade decision. Then both sides said a Wisconsin state law from 1849 sprung back to life.
So this is what I have a problem with in jurisprudence and law in general. You've got a law that we have to go back to 1824 for. This is why we need Elon Musk come in. Elon, here's one of the ways that you can really help fix this country. And with all these different laws and things, we need like a fresh new set of laws where we disregard a lot of this old law, a lot of this old precedent, and basically we come in and write new, here's what the status is, and all of this stare decisis, pre-decided issues of law. It's just overwhelming. I'll talk about this in another issue, but let's go back to figure out this.
Wisconsin Attorney General sued against that state law, and today the case goes to the highest court in the state. In 2022, when the U.S. Supreme Court reversed Roe v. Wade, Wisconsin's abortion providers stopped doing them. That's because a Wisconsin state law from 1849 states any person other than the mother who intentionally destroys the life of an unborn child is guilty of a Class H felony. But then last year, a Dane County judge ruled that old law didn't apply to abortion, but only to feticide, the killing of a fetus without the mother's permission. Sheboygan County's DA, Republican Joel Urmanski, appealed to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Now in 2024, that court weighs this case.
There would not be an exception for incest, correct?
I believe that is correct.
A liberal majority now controls the state Supreme Court, and several of these justices grilled the lawyer representing District Attorney Urmanski.
If they're liberal, I can tell you how it's going to come out. They're going to overturn it and construe it in a way that permits the abortion.
Fear that what you are asking this court to do is to sign the death warrants of women and children and pregnant people in this state.
So in 1849, we're talking about a time when the only people that had rights were white men, correct? With property. White men who own property, sorry.
But conservative members of the court pushed back.
Are you aware of any principle of law that instructs judges or justices to disregard an enactment of the legislature based on the race or gender of the enactors?
I am not, Justice Bradley.
The law's still there. It's still there. The judiciary doesn't get to edit laws. The judiciary doesn't get to rewrite them.
They're going to edit that law, and they're going to rewrite that law. You could tell that from the questions that the first two justices talked about. You could tell that that second justice has a disdain for the United States and any laws that were done back then because, in her words, they were only meant to protect white men, and that, I mean, you can tell that she thinks that the United States was inherently racist and biased and sexist at that time, that it's not about the life of an actual child that hasn't been born yet. It's about rights and privileges to men and women.
We didn't delete it.
For now, the future of abortion law in Wisconsin rests in the state Supreme Court. It's possible the justices could reveal their decision in the coming weeks or longer. They don't really say when they're going to issue their opinions. The state high court has agreed to hear a second case that asks if there's a constitutional right to abortion in the state constitution.
And Jason, abortion was such a major topic for voters this election. What makes this 1849 abortion ban so relevant and important?
Well, when you looked at what happened in 2022, you know, the abortion clinics in Wisconsin, they stopped doing abortions. And really, it was only until this Dane County judge ruled and said that this law from 1849 did not, in fact, apply to abortion. Then they started doing abortions again. So
clearly, they all knew that it was illegal. And then they got a court decision where a judicial activist judge said, no, we're going to disregard the actual law. You can do it again. And so the judge made the determination that all of these abortion clinics could do the abortion. Instead of the proper place would have been the legislature and with the governor approval. the executive branch and the legislative branch making law. Instead, this was the judicial branch making law and interpreting law. And the problem is that the interpretation was clear. That's why they all stopped doing it. They knew it was illegal. It was illegal up to the time that the Roe versus Wade opinion went in and they started doing the abortions there. And then they stopped doing them when Roe versus Wade, which was the judicial activist case through the Supreme Court that allowed abortions to happen there. Now, another activist judge has allowed abortions to go through there, and the Supreme Court in Wisconsin is going to allow that. What they really need to do is take it to the legislature. It is a state's issue, which I believe is correct, and for years, in my whole lifetime, everybody was saying this needs to go to the states, it needs to go to the states, let the states decide. My personal opinion is you should not murder a child in the womb. If the child has been conceived, in my opinion, they should be allowed to be born. And there's plenty of resources and people that want to adopt. I personally took care of children and have adopted them as our own, and it's a great thing to do, and there's plenty of people that are willing to do that. But I don't believe that you should take the life of a child. Let us know in the comments what you think about this, and like and subscribe. Share this. Tell us what you think. If you hate my guts for saying it, I apologize about that. Tell me what your status and opinion is, and we'll continue the conversation. Maybe we can find some common ground and have some enlightenment. I had a really good conversation with Kareth Foster about that recently. Tell us what you think in the comments. This is the Lawyer Dana Show.